Hello and very good morning to all my dear lovely students. Hope you all are doing well. Dear students, today your Neema ma'am is back with the explanation of new story, that is The Fight, chapter 6, taken from your English supplementary book It So Happened, class 8th. Students, we all know that fight is not the solution of all the problems. So from this story also we are going to learn that we should stay away, we should keep ourselves away from fight. Okay, and how we can resolve our problems without fight. So students, before getting into the story, I would like to tell you first of all the introduction of the story. Let me give you the introduction. The lesson The Fight by Ruskin Bond tells us a tale about two young boys who fight in the beginning regarding who owns the possession of the pool in the forest. Once they get tired and exhausted, they decide to continue their fight the next day. The following day, both of them somehow end up becoming great friends who are willing to help each other in learning and becoming a better version of themselves. So you see, if you become friends, alright, then your all the problems will be solved. Now students, let me give you the summary of the story and then I will explain you the story paragraph wise. The lesson begins by introducing us to a young boy named Ranji who had recently moved to Rajpur. He did not have any friends there and his school had also not begun. It was the peak of summer at that time and he used to roam around forest in his vests and shorts. It was on one such hot day that he caught sight of a pool in the forest. The water in the pool was so clear that one could even see the bottom of it covered with smooth round pebbles. The pool was being fed by a small stream of water that emerged out of a cluster of rocks. In the monsoon, however, the stream would be rushing, coming down like a waterfall. But during summers, the rocks somehow managed to keep the pool intact, unlike the pools in plains that would dry up. Ranji jumped in the pool without hesitation, as he was used to swimming alone or with his friends. When he had lived with his parents in a thirsty town in the middle of the Rajputana desert. There he had seen only the sticky, muddy pools in which buffaloes rolled in. Right? Thus, he jumped into the water and his body covered, all with water and moved flexibly as it was free of any fat. He came there again the following day to get some relief from the scorching heat. Right? Once he swam in it for a while, he rested on the smooth yellow rocks under the shade of sal trees. Suddenly his eyes fell upon a stranger who was looking at him from a distance. He was taller than him, a little older too, thick-set and had a broad nose and thick red lips. Although Ranji extended a friendly offer towards him to come and swing along, the other boy's tone was quite hostile. He told Ranji that it was his pool and Ranji had come there uninvited. He exclaimed himself to be a warrior. Ranji, on the other hand, exclaimed that he was a fighter. Both of them ended up in a violent fight. But after 5 minutes of frenzied, unscientific struggle, neither boy emerged victorious. Their bodies heaving with exhaustion, they stood back from each other, making tremendous efforts to speak. All they could say was repeat that I am a warrior and I am a fighter. तो समझ में आया आप लोगों को कि जो रांझी है वो तो पूल देख करके फॉरेस्ट में बस इतना क्लीन वाटर बस पानी में उतर गया और उसको तो स्विमिंग भी आती थी, लेकिन उसने इतना साफ़ पानी बेटा कभी नहीं देखा था जैसे कि वो अब देख रहा है और उसको बहुत मज़ा भी आने लग गया बिकॉज ही नोज स्विमिंग एंड ऑल. वेराज जो दूसरा बॉय है वो उसको घूर रहा था, जबकि रांझी ने उसको ऑफर किया फ्रेंडशिप, बट ही सेड दैट आई एम अ वॉरियर, राइट। और फिर इसने भी कह दिया कि आई एम अ फाइटर, बिकॉज ही डजंट वांट टू शो दैट ही इज़ वीक। Suddenly, the warrior got an inspiration and they both decided on continuing the fight the next day. As Ranji reached home, it became difficult for him to explain the cuts and bruises on his face, legs, and arms. It was clearly evident that he had been involved in a usual violent fight. His mother insisted upon him to stay indoors for the rest of the day, but somehow he managed to slip out in the evening to go to the bazaar. There he found solace in a bottle of vividly colored lemonade and sweet jalebis. As he finished his lemonade, his eyes fell upon his approaching enemy. At first, he wanted to turn his head and look away. On second instinct, he wanted to throw the lemonade bottle at him. But he resisted and stood his ground as he looked at the other boy angrily. Then what happened, students? Next day, although Ranji felt weak and stiff from the previous day's fight, he could not refuse the challenge. It would mean that he surrendered, isn't it? So he was well aware that with his physical condition, he would anyway end up losing the fight. But then he still had to show up. Half hoping that the warrior must have forgotten about the fight, Ranji went to the pool. His expectations were crushed when he saw the opponent rubbing oil on his body. The other boy challenged him to come towards his side of the pool, not wanting to submit to the conditions laid down by the opponent. Ranji called the boy towards his side of the pool. The other boy provoked him. Thus, Ranji took out his vest, asked Ranji to teach him how to dive. Okay, as because Ranji dived into the water na, and just like he was diving like a fish. So Ranji was now showing that he knows very well to swim. And when the other boy waited for him to show up on the surface of the water, Ranji circled around him underwater and came out from behind him. The other boy was surprised to know that Ranji could even swim underwater. He was inclined towards trying it himself. But when he tried, he thought that he had successfully been under the water. But actually his bottom was above the surface, just as it happens in case of ducks. He asked Ranji to come to the pool every day and teach him how to dive and swim underwater. In return, he promised to keep skinny Ranji become a pehlwan. Both of them shared their names and agreed that the pool belonged to them and no one else could use it. Ranji smiled in the end, knowing that he had conquered the day. Now, students, I will do the explanation of the story. Okay, starting from the starting. Okay, as I will read for you, then I will at the same time I will explain. Ranji had been less than a month in Rajpur when he discovered the pool in the forest. It was the height of summer and his school had not yet opened. And having as yet made no friends in this semi-hill station, he wandered about a great deal by himself into the hills and forests that stretched away interminably on all sides of the town. It was hot, very hot at that time of the year, and Ranji walked about in his vest and shorts. His brown feet white with the chalky dust that flew up from the ground. The earth was parched, the grass brown, the trees listless, hardly stirring, waiting for a cool wind or a refreshing shower of rain. Students, first of all, I am going to explain you the meaning of difficult words in this paragraph. See, the very first word is wandered. Wandered means walk or move in a leisurely or aimless way. Next word is interminably. Interminably means endlessly. Parched. Parched का मतलब होता है hot and dry. Listless. Listless मतलब होता है बच्चों lacking energy or enthusiasm. Right. Now I will explain you this paragraph. So students, it had not even been a month since Ranji came to Rajpur, and he had already discovered the pool that was there in the forest. Summer was at its peak, and the school was still closed. Ranji hadn't made any friends in the semi-hill station, so he used to roam around alone in the hills and the forest that extended endlessly on all sides of the town. It was extremely hot, बहुत ज़्यादा गर्मी थी at that time of the year, which is why Ranji went out in his vest and shorts. As he walked on the ground, his brown feet turned white with the chalky dust that flew from the ground. The earth had dried out with the heat, the grass had turned brown, and the trees were spiritless as they waited for a chilly wind and a rain shower that would revive them. Okay, moving on to the next paragraph now, students. It was on such a day, a hot, tired day, that Ranji found the pool in the forest. The water had a gentle translucency, and you could see the smooth round pebbles at the bottom of the pool. A small stream emerged from a cluster of rocks to feed the pool. During the monsoon, this stream would be a gushing torrent cascading down from the hills, but during the summer it was barely a trickle. So students, now in this paragraph, the meaning of translucency, the meaning of the word translucency means clarity. Okay, translucency means clarity. The next word is emerged. Emerged का मतलब होता है बच्चों moved out of or away from something and become visible. Next word is cluster. A group of similar things positioned closely together. ठीक है, और इसके बाद हमारा नेक्स्ट वर्ड हो गया आपका गशिंग. गशिंग मतलब होता है exaggeratedly enthusiastic. नेक्स्ट वर्ड इज टोरेंट. टोरेंट मतलब तो आपको पता ही होगा, रशिंग स्ट्रीम ऑफ वाटर, और कास्काडिंग कमिंग डाउन लाइक अ वाटरफॉल. ट्रिकल मतलब होता है बच्चों वीक और थिन फ्लो ऑफ वाटर. ठीक है, अब इसका पैराग्राफ का एक्सप्लेनेशन क्या है कि ऑन वन सच हॉट एंड टायरिंग डे, ओके, रांझी डिस्कवर्ड द पूल इन द फॉरेस्ट. ऐसी गर्मी में रांझी को फॉरेस्ट में क्या दिखा? पूल दिखा. द फॉरेस्ट वॉज सो क्लियर दैट वन कुड सी द बॉटम ऑफ द पूल कवर्ड विथ स्मॉल राउंड पेबल्स. इतना साफ था कि उसके अंदर के पेबल्स तक दिख रहे थे. द पूल गॉट इट्स वाटर फ्रॉम अ स्मॉल स्ट्रीम दैट वॉज कमिंग फ्रॉम द क्लस्टर ऑफ रॉक्स. ओके, कहाँ से आ रहा था? वो आ रहा था रॉक्स के बीच में से वो पानी आ रहा था फ्रॉम दैट स्ट्रीम, स्मॉल स्ट्रीम. In the monsoon season, बच्चों, the same stream of water used to become unstoppable as it came down from the hills like a waterfall. But during the summer season, it was just a thin flow of water. ठीक है? Next, we move on to the next paragraph. The rocks, however, held the water in the pool, and it did not dry up like the pools in the palms. When Ranji saw the pool, he did not hesitate to get into it. He had often gone swimming alone or with friends. When he had lived with his parents in a thirsty town in the middle of Rajputana desert, there he had known only sticky, muddy pools where buffaloes wallowed and women washed clothes. He had never seen a pool like this, so clean and cold and inviting. He leapt into the water. His limbs were supple, free of any fat, and his dark body glistened in patches of sunlit water. Now students, wallowed means rolled about in mud or dirty water. ठीक है, wallowed मतलब पूरा उसमें रोल हो जाना, मडी वाटर में जो है डर्टी वाटर या मडी वाटर कह लीजिए, उसमें पूरा रोल हो जाना, उसमें पूरा जो है अपने आप को ढक लेना. लेफ्ट मतलब होता है जंप्ड. सपल मतलब होता है बच्चों फ्लेक्सिबल. ओके, बेंडिंग एंड मूविंग ईजीली एंड ग्रेसफुली. नेक्स्ट वर्ड हो गया आपका ग्लिसेंट. ग्लिस्टेंट मतलब होता है शाइन विद अ स्पार्कलिंग लाइट. अब इसका एक्सप्लेनेशन. So student, despite the reduced flow of water in the stream in the summer season, the rocks didn't let the pool dry up like it happens in the plains by holding the water in it. Upon seeing the pool, Ranji didn't think twice before getting into it. He knew how to swim as he used to go swimming with his friends, है ना, or sometimes even alone where he lived earlier with his parents. So he was very much aware about swimming. It was thirsty town where he was living in the center of the Rajputana desert. Back there he had only seen sticky pools and that were filled with mud. वहाँ पे तो उसने बहुत मिट्टी वाले pools देखे थे, लेकिन ये तो बहुत साफ था. और उसने जो pools देखे थे वहाँ पे तो buffaloes used to roll themselves. वहाँ पे तो उसमें मडी में buffalo भी अपने आप को जो है बैठी रहती थी गंदे पानी में मिट्टी वाले. और women भी जो हैं they used to wash clothes over there. तो it was the first time that he had seen a pool so clean, इतना साफ सुथरा, इतना attractive. Okay, thus he jumped into the water. He was loose limbed and flexible. मतलब उसको तो पानी में आदत थी ना, तो he got easily flexible into the water. He did not have any extra fat on his body. तो ये बता रहा है कि वो thin था बहुत. As he swam in the pool, his brown body glowed in the sunlit water. तो जैसे ही वो मतलब पानी में घुसा तो उसकी बॉडी जो है एकदम ग्लो करने लग गई. ओके, शाइन करने लग गई विद अ स्पार्कलिंग लाइट. नाउ स्टूडेंट्स, नेक्स्ट पैराग्राफ. The next day, he came again to quench his body in the cool waters of the forest pool. He was there for almost an hour, sliding in and out of the limpid green water or lying stretched out on the smooth yellow rocks in the shade of broad-leaved sal trees. It was while he lay thus he noticed another boy standing a little distance away, staring at him in a rather hostile manner. The other boy was a little older than Ranji, taller, thickest, with a broad nose and thick red lips. He had only just noticed Ranji, and when Ranji did not say anything, the other called out, "What are you doing here, mister?" Ranji, who was prepared to be friendly, was taken aback at the hostility of other's tone. "I am swimming," he replied. "Why don't you join me?" "I always swim alone," said the other. "This is my pool. I did not invite you here." Now students, I will do the explanation. First of all, again the difficult words. Quench, it is cool, okay, his body. Quench his body, cool, okay. Thirst, to quench the thirst, बुझाना. लिम्पिड मतलब होता है completely clear and transparent. Sal trees, it means a North Indian tree that yields hard durable timber and drammer resin. बच्चों, hostile मतलब होता है showing or feeling opposition or dislike. Okay, unfriendly, hostile. Thick-set, solidly built. और टेकन अबैक मतलब होता है सरप्राइज्ड. ठीक है. हॉस्टिलिटी मैंने आपको बताया, हॉस्टाइल मैंने बताया अनफ्रेंडली, एंड हॉस्टिलिटी मतलब होता है एनमिटी. अब देखिए इसका एक्सप्लेनेशन. रांझी visited the pool again the next day to relax his body in its cool waters. Okay. For almost an hour, he moved smoothly in and out of the clear green water and stretched himself out of the smooth yellow rocks that were under the shade of the broad-leaved sal trees. And as you can see in the picture also. As he was relaxing on the rock, his attention was caught by a boy standing at some distance. As his gaze was fixed upon Ranji in an unfriendly manner. He seemed a little older than Ranji. मतलब Ranji से थोड़ा बड़ा लग रहा था. He had quite solid built body and a wide nose with bulky red lips. ठीक है. So he had also seen Ranji only then, and upon not hearing anything from his side, the boy just spoke up and asked Ranji what he was doing there. Ranji on the other hand was expecting to make a new friend, but he was quite surprised by the bitterness of the other boy. Ranji replied and told him that he was swimming. And he further extended the boy and offered to join him. The boy rudely told him that he always swam alone in the pool that he claimed to own. He told Ranji that he had come here uninvited. Right? अब तो थोड़ा सा गर्मा गर्मी होने लग गई है. The stranger strode up to Ranji, who still sat on the rock, and planting his broad feet firmly on the sand, said, as though this would settle the matter once or for all. Don't you know I am a warrior? I do not like replies from villagers like you. So you like to fight with villagers, said Ranji. Well, I am not a villager, I am a fighter. I am a warrior, I am a fighter. They had reached an impasse. One had said he was a warrior, the other had proclaimed himself a fighter. There was little else that could be said. Now students, see what happened, that they both, now he's saying that I don't like to talk with you kind of people, I don't talk to villagers, and I have clearly told you that this is my pool and you should get out of here. I haven't invited you, and you also remind this thing that I am a warrior. So he said, okay, so you people like to fight with the villagers, okay, I am ready, I am also a fighter. So no need to worry that you are telling me that you are a warrior, so that doesn't matter. Okay, I am also a very big fighter, so you don't have to show me your strength, your power. So students, we see that the strange boy marched towards Ranji, who was still resting on the rock. Upon reaching there, Ranji sat. He thumped his broad feet on the ground to look tough, and in order to settle the matter for once and for all, he told Ranji that he was a warrior who didn't listen to villagers like him. ठीक है? So in response to his unfriendly and rude remark, Ranji also told him that I am also a fighter. Okay, they both found themselves at no conclusion from where no progress seemed possible. They continued making it clear to each other that one was a fighter and other one was a warrior. So they were left with nothing much to say. Now further he says, you understand that I am a warrior, said the stranger, feeling that perhaps this information had not penetrated Ranji's head. I have heard you say it 3 times, replied Ranji. Then why are you not running away? I am waiting for you to run away. I will have to beat you, said the stranger, assuming a violent attitude, showing Ranji the palm of his hand. I am waiting to see you do it, said Ranji. You will see to me to do it, said the other boy. स्टूडेंट्स पेनिट्रेटेड मतलब होता है गॉन थ्रू इनटू, ठीक है, अंदर अच्छे से चले जाना, पेनिट्रेट हो जाना. सो स्टूडेंट्स एक्सप्लेनेशन नाउ. द स्ट्रेंजर केप्ट ऑन रिपीटिंग दैट ही वॉज अ वॉरियर, है ना, एज इफ ही हैड नॉट ऑलरेडी मेड इट क्लियर इनफ फॉर रांझी. हम हर बार यही कहता जा रहा है. तो रांझी रिप्लाइड दैट ही हैज़ हर्ड हिम से दैट थ्राइस. मैंने तुम्हारे को तीसरी बार ये कहते हुए सुन लिया है. द स्ट्रेंजर देन आस्क्ड हिम व्हाई ही इज़ नॉट रनिंग अवे. Ranji responded that he had been waiting for him to run away instead. मतलब तुम भागो यहाँ से, मैं क्यों भागूँ. तो in an aggressive tone ना, the stranger as he showed Ranji the palm of his hand told him that he will have to beat him up. तो Ranji did not step back. Ranji को डर नहीं लगा and told him that he was waiting for that moment. The other boy warned him that he would rather see him do that. अब तो ज़्यादा द मैटर इज़ वेरी हॉट. रांझी waited. The other boy made a strange hissing sound. They stared each other in the eye for almost a minute. Okay. Then the warrior slapped Ranji across the face with all the force he could muster. Ranji staggered, feeling quite dizzy. There were thick red finger marks on his cheek. There you are, exclaimed his assailant. Will you be off now? For answer, Ranji swung his arm up and pushed a hard, bony fist into the other's face. So students, muster means collect or gather. Staggered मतलब होता है weak. Okay. Dizzy, having or involving a sensation of spinning around and losing one's balance. And bony, तो पता ही आपको, so thin that the bones could be seen. Now explanation. Ranji held back and waited for the other boy to act. The stranger, however, made a weird hissing sound to try and scare Ranji. Both of them looked into each other's eyes for nearly a minute. गुस्से में. The warrior initiated the fight by summoning on all its strength into slapping Ranji on his face. So feeling unsteady, Ranji almost lost his balance and felt a sensation that he was spinning around. तो क्या होता है ना, as a result of the slap, thick red finger marks formed on Ranji's cheeks. The other boy asked Ranji if he would leave now. मतलब थप्पड़ मारने के बाद अब तुम यहाँ से जा रहे हो कि नहीं जा रहे हो. As a reply, Ranji raised his arm up to punch him in the face with his strong bony fist. Okay. Now the story has come on climax. And then they were at each other's throats, swaying on the rock, tumbling on the sand, rolling over and over, their legs and arms locked in desperate, violent struggle. Gasping and cursing, clawing and slapping, they rolled into the shallows of the pool. Students, see, अब तो बहुत बुरी फाइट शुरू हो गई है. यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है, डिफ़िकल्ट वर्ड इज़ क्लॉइंग, स्क्रैचिंग, यानी कि स्क्रैच करना. The next moment, we know both of them were in a fight, है ना, swinging on the rock, falling clumsily on the sand and rolling over each other. अब तो नीचे गुत्थम गुत्था हो गए हैं. Their arms and legs were locked against each other in a desperate and brutal wrestle. They were breathing heavily. भाई लड़ाई कर रहे हैं तो of course they were breathing heavily, uttering offensive words, scratching and slapping each other till they landed themselves into the shallow depths of the pool. ठीक है. Even in the water, next paragraph. Even in the water, the fight continued as, spluttering and covered with mud, they groped for each other's head and throat. But after 5 minutes of frenzied, unscientific struggle, neither boy had emerged victorious, their bodies heaving with exhaustion. They stood back from each other, making tremendous efforts to speak. So students, meaning of spluttering means speaking quickly, okay, or confusedly. Frenzied, violent. Exhaustion, you all know it means tiredness, and tremendous means great. So once they landed themselves in the pool ना, the fight didn't stop. even pool में जाने के बाद भी fight जो है वो बंद नहीं हुई है उन दोनों की, अभी तक चल रही है, ठीक है. The fight continued by throwing mud at each other so much that they both ended up getting themselves covered in mud. They held each other's head and throat. After 5 minutes of violent and illogical wrestling, none of them won. कोई जीता नहीं इतनी गुत्थम गुत्था और लड़ाई करने के बाद. However, they were breathing heavily and were exhausted. They took their hands off each other and made a lot of efforts to speak. क्योंकि वो बहुत हाफ रहे थे ना, तो they just made a lot of efforts to speak. Now students, what happened next? Now, do you realize I'm a warrior? Gasped the stranger. Do you know I'm a fighter? Said Ranji with difficulty. They gave a moment's consideration to each other's answers, and in that moment of silence, there was only their heavy breathing and the rapid beating of their hearts. Then you will not leave the pool, said the warrior. I will not leave it, said Ranji. Then we shall have to continue the fight, said the other. All right, said Ranji. But neither boy moved nor neither took the initiative. So students, while they were on a break and as they breathed heavily, the stranger asked Ranji if he agreed that he was a warrior. Ranji asked the stranger while struggling with his breath. He asked if he had made it clear to him that he was a fighter. So they took a moment to think upon what both of them had been saying, and during that moment there was lot of heavy breathing and speeding heartbeats. Okay, so the warrior means the stranger asked if the fighter Ranji would give up on the pool, and the fighter said he would not. The warrior believed that they still needed to fight to be able to come to a conclusion. The fighter agreed, but none of them took any action. They stood in their respective places. Right? The warrior had an inspiration. We will continue the fight tomorrow, he said. If you dare to come here again tomorrow, we will continue this fight. And I will not show you mercy as I have done today. I will come tomorrow, said Ranji. I will be ready for you. They turned from each other then, and going to their respective rocks, put on their clothes and left the forest by different routes. So students, at that moment the warrior got an idea that they should resume fighting tomorrow. Okay, and he further warned Ranji that if he dared to come to the pool again the next day, then they would have to fight again, and he would not show any leniency as he did today while fighting. So Ranji replied that he would see him the next day, all prepared to fight. They turned away from each other and went to the rocks to just wear their clothes, and they both went out of the forest into their respective directions. Okay students, so here it is a part 1. We have ended part 1. Okay, and in my next video I am going to come with the explanation of part 2. Thank you very much for listening. Hope you all have enjoyed. The story have come to climax, so don't forget to see part 2 as well. Thank you. Bye bye.